All right, welcome back to Physical Therapy Connections. This is Adrian Gomez with the Tactical Strength and Conditioning Program through the Health and Wellness Department, rather. A big problem that occurs in physically demanding public service jobs is a lack of longevity. So, you want to try to find a way that you can train for a long time and perform for a long time, even beyond the years of retirement. I have a list of do's and don'ts that will help you with your training in a way that you'll actually decrease your risk of injury and increase your intensity and your resiliency for your full healthy career. I have 4 things on my don't list. So number 1 don't thing is don't train with pain. And when a lot of people say, hey, no pain, no gain, you got to push through, you got to earn, all of the gains and that sort of thing. There's definitely an approach to get an injury or get stronger faster, but a lot of times it leads to an imbalance or it leads to a rushed, false sense of gains. And so the main thing behind don't train with pain is truly just to avoid any kind of integrity joint issues or integrity ligament issues with the shoulder, knee, hip, or even the back. Avoiding any kind of pain during the training process is actually one of the number 1 things that I like to implement with the training programs here at the Tactical Strength and Conditioning Program. And again, if the job requires you to have a little bit of pain in a critical situation, then absolutely that's a necessity. You got to have that type of pain situation. But a lot of times training with pain will actually lead to a lot of other different problems and situations. So you definitely don't want to train with pain. The number 2 thing on my don't list is don't train in an unsafe environment. So a lot of times when it's an emergency situation and there's different terrain and there's different environmental demands or dangers, that's not going to be something that you can control. But inside of a training situation, especially when we're talking about tactical strength and conditioning, the end goal is to actually get stronger. The end goal is to be better conditioned so that you're more prepared for an unsafe environment. Adding different implements into your program can give you the sense of an unsafe environment, but you definitely want to have a lot of safety precautions when it does come to your training, and that will ultimately help you lead to a longer training life and to a longer and healthier career. The number 3 thing on my don't list is don't train with improper technique. And improper technique a lot of times is not identified by the person doing the exercise. A lot of times it's somebody on the outside looking in the version of a coach, in the version of a workout partner, a supervisor, that sort of thing. So you definitely want to recruit the help of somebody that has the proper credentials or the proper knowledge of what proper technique is. Anybody in the lines of strength and conditioning, whether it be, a strength coach, a CrossFit coach, a physical therapist, that sort of thing, that has the credentials or the know-how of what proper technique is, that would be a good person to go to. Of course, choosing the right qualified person would be a good idea, but making sure that somebody knows what proper technique is will help you with your with the longevity of your training as well. And the number 4 thing on my do's and don't list is don't overtrain. And a lot of times people will spend hour to 2 hours to 3 hours a day in the gym every single day training a lot of the same patterns like running or rowing or elliptical, bicycle, treadmill, that sort of thing. So you don't want to overtrain in a way that the same movement patterns are exposed over and over and over to the same stresses. In a short period of time, you're not going to notice any major problems with that type of training, but in a really long program that you're repeating week after week, month after month, year after year, that overtraining will show up as an imbalance or will show up as a straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing. So trying to avoid an overtraining type of training would be to do like a 20-minute workout session or a 40-minute workout session, but moving in all different directions. So that number 4, don't overtrain, is really just to the extreme. Don't overtrain the same motion over and over and over for weeks, months, years to come. Of course, there are some things that are required to be repeated multiple times, but the idea is to try to avoid any kind of wearing out of ligaments, muscles, and joints, that sort of thing. So now I'm going to go ahead and move over to my do list. And there's a short list of things to do, but this is for the tactical strength and conditioning world. These 3 do's can make a big difference if you're not already doing this. So the number 1 do is do train whole body versus isolated. And when I say whole body, a whole body movement pattern can be a squat. The whole movement body pattern can be a pull-up or a push-up. There are a variety of complex movements that you can choose from to get a whole body version of training where you're introducing stresses on your trunk, your shoulder, your elbow, your wrist, or your trunk, your hip, your knee, and your ankle. That end up being a complex movement pattern that will actually benefit you more time-wise and efficiency-wise for your performance as a tactical strength and conditioning person, athlete. And so training your whole body, taxes all of the different movement patterns and systems inside of your body, where more of an isolated approach, whether it's just your bicep with the biceps curl or just a hamstring curl with, just that one muscle group of the hamstring, can be very isolated. It's very time consuming, it's very demanding, and the result is not as efficient. You don't gain as much as you would with, say, something like a whole body movement pattern. So do train with whole body movement patterns. Number 2 is do train with load. Once again, if you are a tactical athlete, you're experiencing running, jumping, carrying, all the different maintenance tasks, all of the different repairs and sorts of things with your gear and also with your vehicles. So training with load is not only going to be very practical, but it has a very good benefit for bone density, for muscle strength, for joint strength, that sort of thing. Training with load allows you to be a little bit more strong and powerful in any situation. And sometimes we think about working with a maximum amount of weight periodically. Even if your load is as light as 35 kilos or 25 kilos, some relatively light weight considering the possible loads and demands that will be on you in a practical or in a real life situation rather. Training with any kind of load, even a light load, will actually benefit you in the long run. My number 3 is do train to produce results. A lot of times, like I said, we've worked with other tactical athletes in various roles: firefighters, SWAT team, parole officers, police academy, police, where they've been doing the same program for 2 years, and although they're not making any gains, they're not really staying the same. They notice over a long period of time, 2 years, 3 years, that they just can't do 20 push-ups like they used to 2 years ago, or they just can't do 40 push-ups like they used to do 2 years ago. So doing the same program and getting a lesser result would be an example of not training to produce results. So that number 3 is do train to produce results. And if you're not sure or comfortable with different training methods, that would be a good time to recruit the help of a strength and conditioning coach or a physical therapist or some kind of coach that has the credentials or the expertise with getting a result for that specific need. So again, the big problem of a lot of the public service providers is that there's a very high physical demand level on the body, and so doing the right things and avoiding certain things can produce a superior result. And if you follow that short list of do's and don'ts: don't train with pain, don't train in an unsafe environment, don't train with improper technique, don't overtrain, and the do's: do train whole body, do train with load, and do train to produce results. That short list will actually have a pretty large impact on your training methods. So once again, this is Adrian at Physical Therapy Connections with the Tactical Strength and Conditioning Program out of the Health and Wellness Department. And stay tuned, there are going to be more videos for you guys. Thanks.